Hello everyone, it's Shuttleswoman. We have the new freebie champion rotation. This week we have Ari, Blitzcrank, Brom, Kalin, Darius, Lee Sin, Misfortune, Nautilus, Singed, and Volibear. As always, gonna go through the list from top to bottom in alphabetical order, A to Z. Tell you guys the general role you can expect them to be, the lane you can expect them to be in, and the items you can expect to see them have. Let's get going with Ari. You'll be seeing her primarily in the mid lane being built with ability power. She's very, very capable of just destroying enemies 1v1 or, going into a big team fight and just causing complete and utter havoc, taunting one person and making them take increased damage from her for a short duration, and she's just a beast. And yeah, again, you'll be seeing her played in the mid lane with AP items such as Rabadon's Death Cap, a Crystal Scepter, maybe going for, I don't know, a Deathfire Grasp, an Abyssal Scepter, all of those things. But yeah, that's it for her. Next we got Blitzcrank, who is support. You'll be seeing him primarily played at bottom, that is, as support. And be getting support items such as maybe getting a Runic Bulwark. You might be seeing him get items such as a Manamune, because that actually helps Blitzcrank out a lot, because he is melee, and a lot of his spells cost a lot of mana, so you'll be seeing that on him pretty frequently, or might be seeing him built with some AP going, instead of for Manamune, going for Archangel Staff. Either way, those are two very standard items on Blitzcrank, but yeah, you'll be seeing him bottom support with general support items, so again, your Runic Bulwark, your, Sightstone, etc. Next we got Brom, who, just like Blitzcrank, you'll be seeing played as support down at bottom, but with him, you'll be playing him more like Leona than you would with, as Blitzcrank. The idea behind that is, he does, one of his abilities does benefit from AP, not that much though, but it does in one way, shape, or form. It's weird, he's kind of like a mix between Shen and I would say Blitz or Leona. But yeah, one of his abilities, his Q, goes based upon his a percentage of his maximum health, and his ultimate's just flat damage scaling with AP. Everything else is defensive and doesn't scale that much or at all with anything. But, again, expect to see pretty much standard support items that you'd see on Leona, so, some Fire Cape would be good, Randrid's Omen, you could be seeing, maybe some sort of AP in there, not too much. I'm not going to say go balls to the wall with it, but, maybe, build Frostborn, or Iceborne Gauntlets. That would be kind of decent for Brom, but, yeah, other than that, your general tanky support items. Next we got Kalin, who you'll be seeing down at the bottom lane, playing AD. Items on her you could expect to see would be a Phantom Dancer. You could expect to see Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, maybe seeing the, again, I'm sorry guys, I barely, get this item, so, yeah, forgive me. Let's see, there we go, the Runon's Hurricane. But yeah, other than that, the Phantom Dancer is going to be, staple for her, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, and Last Whisper. Maybe also that Banshee's Veil. But that Hurricane you may or may not want to get depending on your situation. Next we got Darius, who you'll be seeing him played primarily up at top, and he's just going to be big bruiser. Expect a lot of AD heavy items on him. Frozen Mallet's going to be good. Phage is definitely going to be good for him. You would be seeing items such as a Sunfire Cape as well, and maybe a Randuin's Omen. He's going to be there to do a bunch of damage and take the damage in return. And again, a Maul of Malmortius doesn't go amiss on him either. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for Darius. Again, expect to see him top lane with the 80 items I pretty much mentioned. The, Manamune, or not Manamune, the, God, I just said them. The Frozen Mallet, the Phage, etc. More of Malmortius. Next we got Lee Sin, who you can expect to see in the jungle most of the time. He can be played jungle, top, or mid, however, so, if he's in, mid or jungle, or top rather, it's not a huge deal. He can fulfill any of those three roles, but, a staple role for Lee Sin is in the jungle. But, more often than not, you might actually see him in the top instead. And again, just like Darius, except, you kind of want to also get maybe a Ravenous Hydra for Lee Sin. It does help, but other than that, a Warmog's, Ravenous Hydra, what else? Maybe a Frozen Mallet or the Phage. Either one of those two would be good. Might also want to look into maybe a Sunfire Cape if you need to be tanky. But those items are pretty much standard for Lee Sin in whatever role he's playing. So, yeah. Next we got Misfortune, who just like Kalin, gonna be built AD in the bottom lane. You can expect to see maybe an Infinity Edge, well, definitely an Infinity Edge, maybe a Trinity Force. You could expect to see Phantom Dancer on Misfortune, maybe a Static Shiv, but I'm not gonna guarantee that. A Last Whisper is almost definite, and maybe a Black Cleaver. But other than that, yeah, I would actually go ahead and say get the Trinity Force just because her double up does scale with AP as well as some AD. So go ahead and get it, plus it does help when you have, you make a rain down, you hit somebody and that big crit because of, the sheen from it. Yeah, that certainly helps. But again, bot lane with AD items. Next we got Nautilus, who you'll expect to see most of the time in the jungle with a big mixture of health and resistances, so health, armor, magic resist, with some emphasis on ability power, not that much. Again, maybe just Iceborne Gauntlets and that's it. Or a Rod of Ages, I've seen that on Nautilus as well. But don't go overboard with it. Again, primarily the jungle with, pretty items to make them beefy. So again, armor, health, magic resist. Next, we got Singed, who you'll be seeing in the top lane most of the time. He could be the not the jungle, he could be the support at bottom, but that's a very, very, very iffy situation. But in the top lane, you can expect to see him getting a Rod of Ages, maybe getting Landry's Torment, getting Archangel Staff, most likely. I'm not going to say that's guaranteed on Singed, but it can happen and it can be good. But that Rod of Ages is certainly going to be a staple for him. The Landry's Torment almost going to be a staple as well. Could also expect to see maybe a Sunfire Cape or Renduin's Omen for him. Other than that, an Abyssal Scepter doesn't go amiss on Singed either. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as standard items. Other than that, it's kind of it's personal preference. A Crystal Scepter also doesn't go amiss on Singed. And again, he'll be primarily in the top lane. And last but not least, we got Volibear, who just like Lee Sin, can be played in the top or in the jungle. And with him, you can expect to see an emphasis on some attack damage with maybe some attack speed, with health, armor, and magic resist mixed in like Darius. But you're not going to go ahead and get like a Maw of Malmortius, or you might get a Maw of Malmortius on Volibear, but that's kind of it. Maybe a Stinger, turn that into a Zephyr. But that's pretty much it as far as, the attack speed and damage. Maybe also get a Frozen Mount for the health. But, Renduin's Omen's going to be good for Volibear. Sunfire Cape's going to be good. And again, anything that adds some sort of magic resist is going to be good. And again, primarily the top or jungle lane. Most of the time you can expect to see him in the jungle, however, because he is a very, very good jungler. But, yeah, guys, that's it. That's this week's Free Week Champion rotation. I should have new equipment here middle of this week, like Thursday or Friday. So, yeah, I'll have a new microphone and everything else. And we can go from there with new audio quality. My name has been Shadowswalm, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And I will talk to you all next time.